Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is it's a very important issue. We really need your help to get the message out there because we need your help to get our crews home safely. So we've set up this event today. Our first speaker is the director of the Oregon Department of Transportation, Chris Strickland.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming to this important event. In my time since I've been the director of the Oregon Department of Transportation, I've had the privilege of talking to literally hundreds of people that are out on the road doing the work that we do every day. There's not a single one of them, whether it's a maintenance worker, the benefit of talking to our law enforcement, tow truck drivers, literally anybody, the construction crews, that don't have a story about a near miss or a crash in a work zone. Those crashes are continuing to rise. And we start to see that impact not just in the numbers and not just in the individuals that are impacted, but we see it in their families, we see it in the crews, and we see it in everybody else that is impacted by those that are experiencing either a loss or a crash that contributes to the emotional trauma that comes with doing the work that we do. Our crews are out there every day, and we beg each of you to help them continue to go home safely at the end of every night. The work that they do is dangerous, and the work that they do is for you and it's for the traveling public. We are seeing stories like this happen more frequently, as I mentioned. As I referenced 2021 alone, we had 476 crashes in work zones in Oregon. As a result of those crashes, 23 people were seriously injured and 4 lost their lives. Those numbers are unacceptable. Road workers aren't the only people at risk. Our teams are out there. You heard the risk numbers associated with all of those impacted, but it's all of you that are at risk as well. Every time there is an incident, everybody around that incident is impacted in a way that they take with them literally for the rest of their lives. And these impacts don't go away, they don't get better, and they continue to have an impact on all of the crew members that are either close by or even just know a family member that's been impacted. This isn't just an Oregon problem. Washington has similar numbers too, and that's why we're standing together today with Washington to send a clear message. When you're driving through our work zones, slow down and pay attention. Move over if it's safe to do so, and give the workers the space that they need to keep you safe. Remember, it only takes a minute of your day in order to do this and provide a safe environment for our workers and for each of you that are traveling through our work zones. You're looking forward to the work that we do. You're looking forward to the places that you need to go. And we can only provide that resource, and we can only provide the ability for you to get there if our workers can show up every day safely and do the work that they need to do. The same holds true for our law enforcement officers. It holds true for anybody responding to an incident. The same holds true to our construction crews. It's across the board. The things that we do out on the road are dangerous and difficult. I want to reemphasize that safety is everybody's responsibility. We certainly have our role, and that's why you see the extended work zones trying to keep our workers safe. But we know that each of you has a role too, and we're looking for your help, and we appreciate what each of you can do to help keep our workers safe and let them go home to their families at night. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sean Spolniak. I am a Transportation Maintenance Specialist 2 with Oregon Department of Transportation. I've worked in government camp for nearly 8 years. A work zone can be us picking up road debris, mowing, sweeping, filling potholes, painting stripes on the roads, lane closures. Anytime we have our flashing lights on our vehicles or equipment. As a crew, we are constantly trying to find ways to make it safer for us and the traveling public. There are high volumes of traffic commuting daily. We constantly witness drivers on their cell phones, drivers not moving over when our amber lights are flashing, drivers overlooking work zones, drivers doing unsafe speeds in work zones. It is unsafe to be doing our jobs. We are a family at ODOT and constantly watch out for each other. We are afraid we won't be able to go home to our wives, husbands, children, grandchildren, and loved ones. All it takes is that 1 second of distracted driving, a driver being intoxicated, road rage, or a driver just not paying attention to their surroundings. Our lives are at risk. Highway work is very dangerous. Working feet from speeding vehicles, both day and night. Drivers not stopping for flaggers, drivers running over cones in our work zones. I have nearly been run over by a drunk driver. Coworkers have been hit in equipment and in vehicles. Please slow down, pay attention, watch for orange roadwork signs, message boards, flashing lights, and traffic control changes. We are trying to make traveling safer for the public, and that requires us to ask you to be patient, attentive, and help us go home to our families. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Carly Francis. I am the regional administrator of our Southwest team located in Vancouver. I am here today to share the story of struck crew members who were all sent to the hospital from recent work zone crashes here in Southwest Washington. The maintenance crew standing here with me today suffered a strike from one of 3 incidents. In the evening of January 21st, 6 crew were struck while serving the community and doing their work. They are Jason, Valerie, Jeremy, Josh, and Brandon, and Beth, who is standing here next to me. 2 weeks ago, while responding to a crash caused by a suspected DUI driver, another of our crew, Kelsey, was struck by a separate suspected DUI driver, causing a second collision, and she was also sent to the hospital. Lastly, Dina was struck 2 years ago at a very high speed, also on I-5. She was inside her DOT vehicle, leaving her with a very long recovery time. The toughest calls we get as leaders is when a worker has been injured. The call I received on January 21st was especially distressing, given the number of crew members injured in a single incident. As I learned, a suspected drunk driver crashed into their vehicles, which were parked on the shoulder alongside I-5. It was struck at full speed. In fact, they were struck so hard, the crash caused one DOT vehicle to hit another one of our DOT vehicles. Crews had just arrived on site to begin emergency pothole repairs caused by snow and ice damage. Standing next to me is crew member Beth Blankenship. We're sharing some of Beth's story as an example of what all of our workers face in work zones. It's still emotional, so she's asked me to share the details. Beth serves as one of our highway maintenance workers and is also a volunteer firefighter. She and her husband, Kyle, a Cowlitz County firefighter, have dedicated themselves to a life of public service and ensuring the safety of their community. Beth and the crew were called out to assist in emergency pavement repairs. They were working at night when traffic volumes are lower. Within 90 seconds of pulling over to the shoulder along the highway and lighting up their trucks with pre-warning flashers, the crew was struck at nearly 70 miles per hour. The impact left all 6 crew members with serious, but thankfully non-life-threatening injuries. Despite their injuries, the crew, after checking on each other, went to check on the driver who had struck them. 4 of the 6 crew members, including Beth, are volunteer firefighters with first aid training. However, as they worked to assess the driver's injuries, Beth realized her own injuries were limiting her ability to help. The aftermath of the crash left Beth with physical injuries and emotional trauma. She has lower back pain and experienced bruised knees. The crash was so forceful that it sent her knees into the dashboard. If she closes her eyes, she still feels the impact of the collision. The road to recovery is long and uncertain, as it is with many of our crews who are struck in work zones. More than anything, Beth has wanted to get back to work, but acknowledges she is afraid about the possibility of being struck again. I know that's a fear many of our workers must confront while just trying to do their jobs. This crew and all the others who have been hit or injured have a long road ahead, but I am thankful for the support they have as they recover. I know Beth and the entire team will never forget that night that could have ended so much worse. Beth's message, and the message from all of our crews, is clear. The consequences of reckless driving extend far beyond the crash. Those events have lasting emotional and psychological effects on our crews and their loved ones who support them into recovery and beyond. Please slow down in work zones, remain alert, put the phone down, and never ever drive under the influence. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here. I'm John Batiste. I'm the Chief of the Washington State Patrol. It's an honor to be here with you this morning on this very, very important occasion. We're seeing a disturbing trend that's taking place in our state, and it's good to be here with our friends and colleagues from the other side of the river in Oregon. Whether you're on a interstate, a state route, or a city street, when you're driving, that should be your number one priority. Driving needs to be your number one priority. As been stated many times before me, put your phone down, keep your head up, please don't drink and drive. All of the folks who are out there on the roadways doing their jobs deserve to go home safely to their families. Christopher Gadd, a young trooper that I recently lost, deserved to go home to his wonderful young family. A beautiful wife, a 2-year-old son, who unfortunately will grow up without her dad. 10 people in the state of Washington lost their lives last year in construction zones. Nearly 800 were injured. We need you to do the right thing, make the right decisions. It's a choice to drink and drive. A very poor one could be a very deadly one. It's a choice to speed, a very poor decision. It's a choice to get in your vehicle and not put your seatbelt on, a very poor decision. The leading causes of incidents within construction zone is following too close, speed, and driver inattention. That's been mentioned already. So please give consideration to these people. Their brothers, their sisters, their uncles, their husbands, their dads, their moms. They need your consideration. Think of it as yourselves. If you were in that construction zone, what would you want others to do? So we're asking that you do the right thing and give these people an opportunity to go home to their loved ones. They're very deserving. They're out there working for us, for you, to build and maintain infrastructure that we use on a daily basis to get to our workplaces, our homes, and places of enjoyment. So I thank you for your support and ask that you make the right choices and be safe out on the roadways. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning. I'm Roger Marar from the Washington State DOT. As you've heard from our crews and our partners, our road workers face daily risks while just doing their jobs, and the risks are increasing for everyone. The number of fatal crashes has doubled since 2022. We had 5 in 2022, we had 10 last year, doubled in 1 year. And that's why, while the overall crash rate in construction zones actually went down a little bit to only 1,228 work zone crashes in Washington State last year. That's 1,228 too many. We see people crashing in our work zones at speeds of 100 miles an hour or more, on their phones instead of paying attention on the road, driving erratically. Impaired driving is a growing concern in our roads and in our work zones. In 2023, we had 7 work zone crashes involving an impaired driver in Washington State. In just the first 2 months of 2024 alone, we saw 7 WashDOT workers sent to the hospital in 2 crashes right here in Vancouver and in Clark County, caused by impaired drivers. In March, we saw 3 more WashDOT workers sent to the hospital after a crash in Federal Way that involved negligent driving. And just this week, on Monday, we had 4 crashes in our work zones in just 1 day. 3 of those 4 crashes happened before 10 a.m. We cannot keep seeing people being hurt or killed in our work zones, so we're making changes. I've told our crews, we always try to balance, mobility and safety, and the work we do is disruptive. We understand that, so we try to do it at times of day and in methods that minimize the inconvenience to you. But what I've told our team is if you don't feel that you can do the work safely at night, do the work during the day. If you're working on the shoulder of the road and you don't feel that you're safe without taking the lane of traffic, take the lane. If you're working in a lane and you don't feel you can do it safely, take the whole road, close it down. And we're also trying to bundle our work to get in and get out and do more things at the same time. All of those ideas are intended to keep our people safe. They're going to inconvenience the traveling public, and that's really too bad. But you're being inconvenienced. What I want to make sure of is that the men and women who work for me get home safe at the end of their shift. So we need the public to do your part as well. We need you to pay attention. We need you to slow down. Just slow down on all of our roads and never drive impaired. What you see today, road workers and first responders are more than just hard hats and vests. They're people with feelings and fears and families and friends and coworkers, just like you. They're out there day and night in all kinds of weather, keeping the traveling public safe and moving, and they truly deserve your consideration. They deserve to not have vehicles blowing past them at 100 miles an hour or more. They deserve not to have to jump out of the way of impaired drivers who ignore multiple warning signs and flashing lights. They deserve to not face the trauma of watching a coworker being hurt or even killed on the job. They deserve to not be hurt or sent to the hospital themselves, and to not have to be scared about returning to their jobs, which they love. And their families deserve to not have to worry each time, every day, when their loved ones go to work, wondering if they're going to return at the end of their shift. The dangerous and deadly driving we're seeing on our roadways simply cannot continue. We need travelers to help ensure everyone on our roadways gets home safe. We all deserve that, and we deserve your attention to this concern. Thank you very much.